Hey everyone, welcome back to the kitchen. Today we're making cheese-stuffed chicken roll-ups with a Bulgur pilaf on the side, and the cheese pull at the end is worth the whole watch. We start with 2 chicken breasts, and each one gets sliced lengthwise into 2 flat steaks, 4 total. Keep the knife parallel to the board and let it glide through in long strokes, because level, uniform cuts here set up everything that follows. Thin steaks roll easier, cook faster, and wrap around a filling without tearing. One steak goes under plastic wrap, and the kitchen mallet flattens it out before the wrap comes off. Beyond tenderizing, the real goal here is uniform thickness. A chicken breast is naturally thick at one end and thin at the other. So without this step, one side would dry out, while the other finishes cooking. Pound them level, and every inch of the roll cooks on the same clock. A round of pink salt gets ground over the flattened chicken, laying down the first layer of seasoning on our future roll-up. Black pepper cracks down over the surface next, landing fresh out of the grinder with all its aroma intact. A good sprinkle of saffron follows next, painting the chicken with those golden threads and a light floral note. Dried garlic powder goes over the top next, clinging to the surface and seasoning every inch the way fresh cloves never quite managed to. Cayenne pepper finishes the lineup, and a hand rubs all the spices deep into the meat. Pressure is what makes seasoning stay put through rolling and baking. Now for the glaze. A couple tablespoons of ketchup go down into a small bowl to start things off. 2 tablespoons of mustard join the ketchup, and a spoon stirs them into one smooth, brick-colored sauce. This little bowl is doing serious work tonight. Ketchup brings sweetness and body, mustard brings tang and bite, and together they make a glaze that will caramelize on the chicken in the oven. The same sweet and sharp logic behind every great barbecue sauce, just built in 30 seconds from 2 things already sitting in your fridge door. Now, 3 heads of garlic go across the fine side of the grater. Grating instead of chopping is a deliberate call for a sauce like this. The grater breaks garlic down into a paste that dissolves completely, spreading its flavor through every drop, while chopped pieces would sit in the glaze like little landmines of raw sharpness. Rule of thumb worth keeping: chop garlic when you want to find it in the dish. Grate it when you want it everywhere at once. The grated garlic goes into the bowl, and the spoon brings the whole glaze together. Take a second to appreciate what 3 ingredients just built: sweet from the ketchup, sharp from the mustard, and that deep garlic warmth running underneath both. A sauce that hits every corner of the palate. It needs to be strong on its own, because in the oven, it will be speaking for the whole outside of the roll, while the cheese handles the inside. A brush paints the glaze over the flattened chicken, covering the whole surface in one full coat. This layer sits right underneath the filling, so every single bite of the roll gets sauce from the inside, not just on the crust. Cheese time, and we're building a team of 3. First, cheddar goes across the fine grater, the sharp veteran of the group, bringing that tangy depth and the orange color everyone associates with comfort food. 100 years of American sandwiches can't be wrong about this cheese. Gouda follows on the same grater, and even cold you can smell the difference. Buttery, a little nutty, with almost caramel underneath. That smooth richness is Gouda's job in this filling, rounding off cheddar's sharp edges with some Dutch diplomacy. Mozzarella is the third player, grated into the pile. And it's here for one famous reason: the stretch. Its proteins form long, elastic strands when melted, which is the science behind every slow-motion cheese pull ever filmed. Cheddar and Gouda bring the flavor, mozzarella brings the show. Hands work all three cheeses together into one mixed pile, and this blend is the whole strategy. Sharpness from cheddar, richness from Gouda, stretch from mozzarella. Three specialists covering each other's weaknesses like a good team should. A portion of the mixed cheese goes into a small glass bowl and steps aside. It has a job coming later, so remember this little bowl. The rest of the grated cheese pours into a large glass bowl. This is the filling crew, headed inside the rolls. Splitting the pile now means the topping stays clean and dry, while the filling gets mixed with everything that's about to join it. A round of pink salt gets ground down into the big bowl, seasoning the filling itself before it heads anywhere. Black pepper follows into the cheese, a fresh crack of spice for the inside of every future roll. Now a few tablespoons of Greek yogurt go into the bowl, and a gloved hand works everything together. This is the move that turns a pile of shreds into an actual filling. The yogurt binds the cheese into one cohesive mass that holds its place while you roll, instead of scattering everywhere. And its little tang keeps three rich cheeses from tasting flat. In the oven, it melts into the mix, making the center creamier than cheese alone ever bakes up. A portion of the cheese filling goes onto the edge of the glazed chicken steak, and then the rolling begins. Steady pressure, tucking as it turns, until the whole steak wraps around that cheese core in one tight, closed cylinder. 2 lengths of kitchen twine tie each roll shut, and scissors trim away the loose ends. Don't talk yourself out of this step. Chicken shrinks and shifts as it cooks, and an untied roll will spring open in the oven and pour its melted cheese across the pan instead of keeping it inside where it belongs. 2 little knots are all that guard the whole point of this dish. A glass baking dish gets lined with parchment paper, and all 4 tied rolls take their places inside it, seam side down, spaced out with a little breathing room between them so the oven's heat can reach every side of every roll. The brush comes back, and the rest of that ketchup, mustard, garlic glaze goes over the rolls, coating every surface. My mom had a move exactly like this. She'd paint her chicken with a sauce she never measured and never wrote down. And when anyone asked what was in it, she'd just say, "A little of this, a little of that," and smile like it was a state secret. I watched her do it 100 times and still never cracked the full recipe. This glaze is my best attempt, and every time the brush comes out, I'm back in that kitchen, watching over her shoulder. Foil covers the baking dish, and into the oven it goes at 360 degrees for 20 minutes. The foil is strategy, not habit. It traps steam, so the chicken cooks through juicy and soft first, and the browning gets its own turn later. Meanwhile, a pot gets filled with water and heads to the stove. The pilaf side of tonight's plate is officially in motion. A tablespoon of salt goes into the water, seasoning the grain from the inside while it cooks, the only window for it. A good splash of vegetable oil follows into the pot. The lid goes on, and the water starts working its way up to a full rolling boil under cover. A separate pan gets its pour of vegetable oil and starts heating up. The vegetables for our pilaf are going to build their flavor here before the grain ever joins them. A piece of butter joins the oil and melts down as I swirl it through. The familiar division of labor. The oil holds the frying temperature steady without burning, and the butter donates that rich, nutty flavor. And every vegetable landing in this pan tonight will pick up a little of both on contact. Now half a red onion chopped down fine, and yes, the tears are already negotiating with me. Which brings me to my question for you today. What's your family's trick for cutting onions without crying? I've heard them all over the years. A match between the teeth, a piece of bread in the mouth, chilling the onion first, cutting next to a burning candle, even swim goggles straight from the pool bag. Somebody's grandmother swore by every single one of these. So tell me in the comments which trick got passed down in your house, and more importantly, does it actually work? The best answer might just save my eyes next video. The chopped red onion goes into the pan, and I stir it through the butter and oil. That soft sizzle settles in, and red onion earns its spot in a pilaf specifically. It's milder and a touch sweeter than yellow when cooked, so it seasons the grain without shouting over it. And those purple-edged pieces look great against the bulgur later. The pot is boiling, so the lid comes off and the bulgur pours in, gets a stir, and goes back under cover. This grain deserves more fame. Bulgur is wheat that's already cooked and cracked, an ancient convenience food that's fed the Middle East for thousands of years. A quick stir through the pan keeps the onion moving along and coloring at an easy pace. Now a red bell pepper cut down into small cubes, and this vegetable is doing double duty for the pilaf. Flavor first. Bell pepper turns sweet and almost jammy in butter, and that sweetness is exactly what a nutty, earthy grain like bulgur wants next to it. The two balance each other the way tomatoes balance rice in every pilaf tradition from Louisiana to Turkey. And then, looks. Those bright red cubes scattered through the golden grain will make this side dish read like it took twice the effort it actually did. Small cubes, so every spoonful catches a few. The pepper cubes go into the pan with the onion, and a stir spreads them out across the heat. Right away they start their transformation, the raw snap softening, the edges turning glossy, that sweet smell beginning to rise and mix with the onion and butter below. The pan is starting to smell like the pilaf it's promising, and the color contrast alone is worth the knife time. Now 3 heads of garlic chopped down fine. And while I work through this pile, let's settle something important. Tonight's filling runs on cheddar, Gouda, and mozzarella. But every cook has their own ride-or-die melting cheese. And that's my second question for you. What's your number one? The sharp cheddar loyalists, the Swiss and Gruyere traditionalists, the pepperjack rebels, the folks who still swear American cheese makes the only real grilled sandwich. Every camp has its arguments. Drop your pick in the comments and make your case, because I read every answer, and I'm always hunting for the next cheese worth stuffing inside a chicken roll. All the chopped garlic goes into the pan, and I stir it through the onion and pepper. A few seconds of heat is all it takes. The smell jumps out of the pan and starts working the room, layering itself over the butter and vegetables like it owns the place. Garlic never needs a warm-up act. Green peas pour into the pan next, and a stir folds them through the red and gold. Look at what they do for this pilaf's palette. 3 bright colors in one pan now, and that matters because we eat with our eyes first. Beyond looks, Peas bring soft little pops of sweetness that break up the grain's earthiness in every few bites. A round of pink salt gets ground over the pan, catching up with the pepper, peas, and garlic that just joined this increasingly crowded party. Black pepper cracks over the vegetables, and the spoon carries it through every layer. Seasoning in stages like this, the water for the grain, the pan for the vegetables, is the quiet habit that separates flat-side dishes from great ones. Because each component arrives at the final mix already tasting complete, instead of leaning on one desperate pinch of salt at the very end to rescue everything at once. Now the green onions slice down the board, and notice they go in late. That's the technique with these. Green onions are really two ingredients in one plant. The white ends bring a mild, oniony bite that can handle some cooking, while the green tops are basically a fresh herb, best with barely any heat at all. Adding them near the finish keeps the greens bright and lively in the pilaf, instead of cooking them down into something dull and army-colored. The sliced green onions go into the pan, and a stir turns them through the vegetables. 10 seconds in the warmth is all they need to wake up. That fresh, sharp smell lifts right out of the pan and settles over the butter and garlic. The final aromatic layer before the grain arrives to soak it all in. The cooked bulgur comes out of the pot and goes straight into the pan, and I fold it through the vegetables. This is the pilaf move that matters. Every grain takes a pass through that seasoned butter, picking up onion, pepper, garlic, and peas along the way, so the bulgur stops being a plain boiled side and becomes a dish with its own argument for the spotlight. Fold until the colors run all the way through, and this pan is done. The rolls come out of the oven, and the foil peels back to a cloud of steam that smells like glazed chicken and melted cheese. 20 minutes well spent. Scissors snip each length of twine, and the strings slide away clean, their work finished. Every roll is holding its shape on its own now, seams sealed, cheese safely inside. Look at that glaze, too. The ketchup and mustard have baked into a deep, lacquered coat on every roll. And we're only halfway to the finish line, because these are headed back into the heat. Remember that small bowl of cheese we set aside at the beginning? Its moment has arrived. The reserved cheddar, Gouda, and mozzarella snows down over the 4 rolls, blanketing every one of them. That's the payoff of planning ahead. A clean, dry topping ready exactly when needed. A handful of parsley gets chopped down fine. My grandma kept a parsley patch by her back steps that refused to die. Frost, drought, one very determined dog, nothing slowed it down. And she would send whichever grandkid stood closest out to grab a handful before every single dinner. Green goes on everything, she'd say, and I never once saw her plate prove otherwise. That patch outlived 2 fences, and I think about it every time a knife goes through parsley on my board. The parsley scatters over the cheese-topped rolls, and back into the oven they go. Hotter this time, 392 degrees for 15 minutes. That higher heat has one job: turning the cheese blanket into a browned, bubbling crust with crispy edges. Out of the oven they come, and a spatula lifts the first roll free. Cheese crust crackling, glaze still shining underneath it. Ready. 2 rolls go onto the plate, side by side, crusts up and looking golden. A generous scoop of the bulgur pilaf lands right beside them. Time for the moment we've been waiting on. The knife goes through, and there's the cheese pull, stretching from the plate in one long, glossy ribbon. Juicy chicken, sharp melted cheese, sweet glaze, nutty bulgur. This plate delivers. Subscribe if you're trying it this week, and I'll see you next time.